We're on the Real Programming channel. It is about HTML and CSS. My name is Andrei. This is our 46th lesson. I greet you. We will talk about calling all HTML professionals. Grab the handbook. Welcome to the Lead Desk set of HTML crafters, those who know how to create professional pages. There are a lot to remember. To the city of Will prepared a handy grid to create an industry standard pages. This grid is meant for you, someone who is new to the Will. It is an exhaustive reference, but rather focuses on the more important best practice in building your pages. And you'll definitely be adding to the knowledge in this grid as you get to know your way around the Will in coming chapters. But for now, take one, they're free. The Will grid to HTML. In this handy grid, we'll bold, downright and well-formatted HTML pages into a common sense set of grid lines. Check them out. Always begin with the doc type. Always start each page with a doc type. This will get you off on the right foot with browsers and with the validator too. Use doc type HTML at all times unless you really are writing HTML for 01 or XHTML. The HTML element don't leave on without it. Following the doc type and the HTML element must always be the top or root element of your web pages. So after the doc type, the HTML tag will start new pages and the HTML tag shouldn't eat with everything else in your page nested inside. Remember to use both your head and your body for better HTML. Only the head and body elements can go directly inside your HTML element. This means that every other element must go either inside the head or the body element, no exceptions. Fit your head the right character encoding. Include a meta-char set UTF-8 tag in your head. The browser will thank you, and so will your users when they're reading comments on your blog from users around the world. We will grid to HTML continued. In this handy grid, we will bold, downright and well-formatted HTML pages into a common sense set of guidelines. Check them out. What's a head without a title? Always give your head element a title element. Is the flow. Failure to do so will result in HTML that isn't compliant. The head element is the only place you should put your title, meta, and style elements. Be careful about nesting certain elements. Within the grid lines we provided here, the nesting rules are fairly flexible, but there are a couple of cases that don't make sense. Never nest an A element inside another A element because that would be too confusing for our visitors. Also, void element like image provide no way to nest other line elements within them. Check your attributes. Some elements attributes are required and some are optional. For instance, the image element wouldn't make much sense without the src attribute, and how you know the alt attribute is required to get familiar with the required and optional attributes of each element as you learn it. HTML archaeology. Throughout this book, you've been using elements and attributes that are all part of the current HTML standard. So you haven't had much opportunity to see the phased out elements and attributes. Most of those elements actually got phased out in HTML 4.0.1, but they may still be hanging around in all web pages. So it doesn't hard to know about these legacy elements. We did some digging and found an HTML 3.2 page that contains some elements and attributes that are no longer part of the standard, as well as a couple of common mistakes that are not recommended in modern HTML. Here are some that control the presentation. Background color sets the background color of the page. Background color. And text sets the color of the body text. Font changes were made with the font element and its face attribute. you could get away without some closing text like li and p. You sometimes still can, but it is not recommended. Missing quotes around attributes. Values. Quotes are always recommended now and required for attributes with multiply values. Text size was controlled with the font element using the size attribute. Here were two ways to elegant text: write elegant a paragraph to or center a piece of text. Next exercise, be the validator. So below you will find an HTML file. Your job is to play like you're the validator and locate all the errors. After you've done the exercise, look at the end chapter or next lesson to see if you code them all. This is our code. Use the validator to check your work once you're done or if you need hints. So, getting our HTML up to snuff wasn't too hard, but it sure took a while to figure it all out. And now we've got to style these pages with CSS. That's a whole different language, isn't it? Bullet points. HTML5 is the current HTML standard. The World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, is the standards organization that defines what standard HTML is. The document type definition, doctype, is used to tell the browser the version of HTML you're using. The HTML standard is now a living standard, which means that the standard will change to incorporate new features and updates. The tag meta in the head elements tells the browser additional information about the web page, such as the content type and character encoding. The charset attributes of the meta tag tells the browser the character encoding that is used for the web page. Most web pages use the UTF-8 encoding for HTML files and for the meta tag charset attribute. The alt attribute is required for the image element. The W3C validator is a free online service that checks pages for compliance with standards. Use the validator or to ensure that your HTML is well formatted and that your elements and attributes meet the standard. Be adhering to the standard, your pages will display more quickly and with fewer display differences between browsers, and your CSS will work better. So, next exercise, HTML cross. It's been a heck of a chapter. Go ahead and grab a cup of your favorite beverages, sit back and strengthen those neural connections by doing this coursework. All these answers come from this chapter. Be the validator solution. Below you'll find an HTML file. Your job is to play like you're the validator and locate all the files here as a solution. So, let's look on Sublime Text with our code. So, missing doc type, the first our errors should be UTF-8 instead of UTF-9, which doesn't exist. Title should be in the head, not alt attribute. Missing H1 tag, this will cause problems with the P element below. Missing lead tag, this will still validate, but it's not recommended. Extra P that doesn't match a P, YAM and P tags are switched. And HTML solution, cross solution. And next, last exercise, solution. Your turn at the strict doc type and the meta. Take two directions HTML and Elixir HTML. Try validating them. Do they validate? If not, fix them so that they do. Solution. To validate Elixir HTML, you have to add the alt attribute to each of your image elements. Time to play a little game with the validator. Take the code you just successfully validate as HTML5 and remove the doc type. That's right, remove it just to see what happens when you validate. Go ahead and submit this version of the file to the validate and see what happens. Make notes below about the errors you get. Remove the doc type. We get 3 errors and 4 warnings if we try to validate without the doc type. The validator assumes we are writing HTML 4.0.1 transitional, which was a version of HTML 4.0.1 designated to use while you were transitioning to HTML. The validator really doesn't like that there is no doc type and complains a couple of times about that. It also complains about the meta charset UTF-8 because before HTML5 charset was not a valid attribute of the meta tag. You can get the idea that using a doc type makes both the validator and the browser hippiers campers. You note in your sheet of paper how many errors did you get. And chapter 7, getting started with CSS, adding a little style. We'll talk about this in the next lesson. And this is our 46th lesson over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, please. Put likes, share with friends, comment, eat bananas, chocolate and nuts, drink more water for the effective work of our brains. Bye.